Welcome to episode number 142 of Paint a Beautiful Picture. Loving people in the middle of it. Yesterday we talked about when floods come, and oh, they do come. Troubles come in all kinds of shapes and sizes. I want you to know that in your child's life, when they tell you that someone is bullying them, someone is mean to them, their teacher hates them, um, they have this pain in their legs, and you want to go, oh, it's just kid stuff. It's not that big of a thing. Don't be so quick to dismiss everything, because in the middle of it, you don't know how serious it might be to your child. And so you need to acknowledge perception. If your child perceives of this as a big problem, then it is. I'm going to tell you how I know this. My son has been in China for the last couple of years teaching English at the university level, and he came home, and I was able to spend 3 weeks with him. And we talked a lot about just tons of things because we haven't really talked face to face in 3 years, and it was great. He made this statement to me. He asked me if I remembered this one in particular person in elementary school. It was a teacher of his. And I said, sure. And I started describing her. And he said, Mom, that wasn't what she was like. And I said, what do you mean? He said, that was the way you saw her or thought about her. That was the way she presented herself or the way she acted when you were in parent-teacher conferences. But in the classroom, it was a whole nother thing. He said, she hated me. I kind of looked at him. Those were pretty strong words. He said, no, I really mean it, Mom. She hated me. And other kids in the class knew it, and she did, and he described things to me that she did to him. And it was really an eye-opener for me, because you know what? This is 40 years after the fact, and it's still affecting him. I really hope you get this message as a parent, because it struck me so hard that sometimes when our child tells us something or wants us to address something, or even to hear them and care about what's going on, we can just kind of minimize it or not address it as strongly as we should, or our perception supersedes our child's. Oh, it's not that really that big of a deal, and they're just exaggerating, and they kind of have this poor me complex anyway. Just acknowledge your child's perception or another human being's, but especially your child's, especially if it keeps coming back up. You kind of want to see the way they're perceiving it. I'll back this up with a story of a student I had. I know this student extremely well because we spent time together out of school because I was friends with his parents. One time he said to me, you know, Miss Newby, my brothers, and I won't go into detail because I don't ever want anyone to know in terms of confidentiality, but they do ... I looked at him, I said, you do know, right, that this is your perception. I know that's how you see it or how you think about it. But your one brother is such a good kid. I mean, I knew this kid in the home as well as out of it. I said, I know you feel like he's doing this, but you might want to sit with him and really listen to his place, because I'm not sure that you're really understanding him. You're so involved in your own emotions and how you're feeling about this. You might be missing what he really means. The reason that matters is because sometimes people's perceptions are different and they don't have the whole picture. And your place as a parent is to help them get that picture. A while back, I did an episode and I showed you a pot, and it had a number of plants in it. On one side was a very grade green plant. On the other side was a very orange one, and I don't have that anymore, so I can't show it to you. But depending on where you stand, you don't see exactly the same thing. So to insist that this is all there is, not understanding there's a bigger picture and more to be seen, is very self-limiting and keeps us from making a a well-informed decision about things. So helping your child know that there is another idea or another viewpoint is very helpful. You don't throw out their perception, you acknowledge it, but you also help them to understand there may be a bigger picture and you would like them to see it so that they have a better sense of what's really happening or how they might actually handle it even in a healthier way. Then you need to admit emotion. If you admit your emotion and your child does, I hate that kid. And when I was a kid, I wasn't allowed to say those things. My mom and dad told me that was really terrible. I want you to know, sometimes people hate. As strongly as you love someone, that's how strongly you can hate their guts. No joke. So if your child is best friends with someone and they really, really hurt them and they say, I really hate them, you might say to them, I could understand how you would feel that way. Now, we're not going to feed that emotion, or you're not going to hang on to that one, I really hope, because it'll lead to bitterness and a lot of different things. But I can understand how right now that's the way you feel. Admit emotion. Don't pretend like it doesn't exist, and don't encourage your kid to bury it. It's not healthy, okay? So as I've said before, emotions are neither good nor bad. It's the actions that follow the emotions that get us into trouble. So if you are angry, if you are afraid, if you are frustrated, if you are sad, if you hate that person, if you love that person, if you are disappointed, if you are frustrated, all of those are okay. It is all right to feel what you feel and admit it openly. It is not okay, however, to act like a jerk, to beat the daylights out of someone, to cuss them out or tell them off or go around and talk badly about them all over the globe. All of those are not acceptable. But the feeling itself, they need to admit it. And then this one is really a tough one. It's tough for us as adults. It's very tough for kids. And that is to accept the lack of control. Great Scott. When that flood came the other day and the heavens just burst open and it started thundering and lightning and the rain was pouring down beyond belief the way it was pouring down and the hail was coming down, I want to ask you something. Do you think for a second that I could have raised my hands up in the air and held back the rain? Do you think I could have pushed the hail away from my car? No. We all know this is no-brainer. It was completely beyond my control. The heavens opened and it poured it down, and I just had to get through that deluge. There are things in our lives that come, and we cannot hold them back. We cannot stop it. Our kids need to know that, and we need to love them right in the middle of it. A lot of people are good time Charlies. When things are great, they're right there with you, man. They're going to be part of the party, and as soon as trouble comes, they are long gone. And you're standing there looking foolish if you were depending upon them. First of all, you need to be, and all of us need to teach our children to be, dependable, reliable, trustworthy people. Someone others can count on, even in a crisis, even in times of challenge, right through the middle of it. Most of us as parents actually get that one. We don't bail. We don't desert our kids when things get tough. However, sometimes emotionally we want to. We'd really like to pull back and, take a vacation from the kid. I get all of that. That's all very truthful. But because of our bond and our commitment as a parent, we stay with it. We need to have friends and hopefully even family who will be those very people who will stand by us and love us right in the thick of it, right in the middle of the greatest trouble. And our children, they need to learn to find people who will stand by them in the middle of it, and they need to become people who will stand with others right in the middle of it. Loving someone is to show them patience when they're having a bad day or a bad moment. Being gracious to them, saying, You're human, and I understand that right now you're not being your best self, but I have moments where I'm not my best self, and I'm not going to pull away or be all angry and upset or take it so personally that you're acting really terribly. I understand that you're having a tough, tough time. So I'm going to show you grace. I'm going to show you forgiveness when you say to me, I'm so sorry. I'm really going to forgive it, and I'm not going to keep bringing it up. I know when you were having that really bad time, you acted like this and you said this and you. No, no, no. I'm really, truly going to forgive you. In fact, I'm probably going to forgive you even if you don't tell me you're sorry, or if you didn't recognize how badly you acted. And especially, I'm just going to stand here. Stand here. Stand here. I cannot overestimate, I don't think any of us can, the value of constancy. I'm just going to be here. I may not be my best self either. I may be struggling too. I may be really having difficulty with all of this. In fact, I might even be having difficulty watching you struggle. But I'm not going to go anywhere. I'm still going to be right here. I'm going to love you right in the thick of it. Whew. I'm sorry, Alyssa. I get talking.
That's okay. It is 11.
Okay, good.
20.
Okay. Whew. I want to ask you a question. I want you to think about one of the most horrible, difficult, challenging things you ever went through. Whether that was a kid when people bullied you, and every day when you got home from, or you were on your way home from school, somebody was beating you up and insulting you and acting like a jerk to you. Or if it was when you were a teenager, you were really rejected, you didn't fit in well, you felt depressed and suicidal and like your life was worthless. I mean, for a long time, not just for a few days. Or as a young person, you went away to college and it was just a lot more overwhelming than you imagined. You were date raped, someone that you love really betrayed you, just whatever that thing was that happened in your world. And I want you to assess, was there anyone who stood with me? Was there anyone I could go to and really share what was going on with me, who loved me enough to acknowledge my perception of what happened and with whom I could freely admit my emotions? Was there anybody like that at all? Was there anyone who really accepted me in spite of my challenges and my chaos and my struggle with it all? Did I have that? Because if you did not, chances are you're still carrying a part of that injury and the results of it with you. You still might be emotionally limping. I want you to go get some help about that. I don't want you to carry that for the rest of your life. You don't need to. I was so thrilled that my son sat and had that conversation with me. I had no idea it was still impacting him. I really did not. And we went through it all again, and he felt so much better. And trust me, this was a couple of days worth of conversation. This wasn't a quick, oh, I'm so sorry that happened to you, and we moved on. This was very significant in his world, what happened to him as a kid and the way that teacher treated him. Get someone to process that with you, to go through that with you, so that you can come out the other side stronger and with a calmer heart and some level of acceptance about what happened to you, even the lack of control that you had. But on the other side of it, accept the truth that you do have control about getting healthier and getting stronger. And then I want you to really have a conversation with your child, regardless of his or her age, and say to them, is there anything that happened to you that was so out of your control that you've never talked to me about? And you feel like you didn't get good support or good acceptance, or you didn't go through this, or we didn't go through this together as well as we might have. It takes a real commitment to your child's well-being, whether they're a little kid or a teenager or a young adult or an older adult, to go through this processing with them. But in places, as parents, we do let our kids down. We do, no matter what. No matter what a good parent we are, no matter how much we love them, sometimes we let them down. And in our modeling, in showing our child how we should live, the way that we act, and the way that we treat others, I think one of the great things that we can do is to say to them, is there a place where I didn't do as well as I might have, that you feel like I let you down? that you want to share with me or that you would like to talk about so we can work through this. I'm still working through things as an adult, and I would like to be there for you now, even if I wasn't there for you as strongly as I might have been in that moment. That acknowledgement, that addressing of things, it's a really big deal. So I don't care if your kid is 10 or almost 50. It's absolutely true that we can continue to get better and better at loving people in the middle of their things. My last word to you is you need to love yourself in the middle of things too. Take care of yourself. When it's really stressful and it's really challenging, make sure that you take moments or a few hours or even a day or two and take good care of yourself. That doesn't mean go get wasted or go get high and go, yeah, I'm taking care of myself like Miss Newbie said. No, that means go to a spa day, take a walk in the woods, go to the beach, go to the mountains, go sit down and watch a movie and laugh your head off. Do something that takes care of you so that in the middle of it, you're also loving yourself. I want to thank you so much for being with me today on Paint a Beautiful Picture. My challenge question for you today is, do I love other people right in the middle of it? Because if you don't, maybe you still have some skills to learn in that area. I hope you have a great day. Go hug your kid. Thank you so much. You may find additional information on our paintabeautifulpicture.com website. Additionally, you may watch me on Rumble, and you may also listen to a podcast on Buzzsprout or Spreaker, all under the name Paint a Beautiful Picture. If you like this video, please give me a thumbs up. You may subscribe, and if you are interested in receiving notifications, please hit the notifications button.